a hilariously terrifying movie is back. Today, Uncle Chung brings you the latest Korean horror film Noise, adapted from Korea's 704 haunting incident, filmed at the actual location of the incident, making the terror even more chilling. Tag your unlucky friends and watch the movie together. It starts with high intensity. To make commuting easier, two sisters spent a fortune to buy a house in an old neighborhood. But shortly after moving in, one day, while the older sister was at work, she suddenly received a call from the police. They told Xiaomei that her younger sister had mysteriously disappeared for 4 days and none of her colleagues or friends had any news of her. Xiaomei immediately rushed home. As soon as she opened the door, a chilling air hit her, and the once tidy room had become messy and chaotic. Sensing something was wrong, she quickly called her sister, but no matter how many times she tried, no one answered. Xiaomei was puzzled. Just a few days ago, her sister was fine when they were together. How could she disappear without a trace in less than a week? Amid her confusion, Xiaomei suddenly recalled that before her sister vanished, some strange events had occurred. Perhaps it all began a few days earlier. At that time, the sisters had just moved into their new home, and life seemed to be heading in a positive direction. But ever since moving in, her younger sister's behavior became very strange. She often pointed her camera at the ceiling, snapping photos randomly and poking at it with a broom. Xiaomei tried to stop her, but her sister always said there were strange noises coming from the ceiling. Since both sisters had hearing impairment since childhood, they naturally assumed her sister must be imagining things. Otherwise, why couldn't Xiaomei hear the noises her sister claimed to hear? There's a noise. This apartment is weird, sis. But no matter what, her sister said Xiaomei only responded with 3 words, I didn't hear. She also told her sister that this house was bought with all her savings, so they had to make do no matter what. Don't make a fuss. Angry, her sister stormed off, slammed the door, and never came out again. Now, with her sister mysteriously gone, Xiaomei began to suspect that there might actually be something wrong with the house. While cleaning the room, she accidentally found her sister's phone in a bag, but the phone was out of battery. She reached for the charger on the floor, but the next second, she saw a large patch of mold on the floor, startling Xiaomei so much she nearly fell amid her panic. She suddenly heard strange knocking sounds coming from all directions, dull and extremely eerie. The final sound came from outside the door. Puzzled, Xiaomei went to the door, but, to be cautious, didn't open it right away. Instead, she picked up the intercom to ask who was there so late. But after several inquiries, there was no response from the other side. Unable to contain her curiosity, Xiaomei unlocked the door and found a strange man standing outside. He immediately asked, "Is your sister home? I was wondering if you could keep it down at night. We, ulo, haven't been home for days. So any noises during that time have nothing to do with us." Hearing this, Xiaomei was instantly terrified. Then the man politely bowed. Xiaomei found this extremely eerie. She watched him leave silently, not noticing that at the other end of the hallway stood a strange woman. Later, Xiaomei opened her sister's phone and found a bunch of audio recordings inside. She immediately connected her hearing aid to listen to what was in the recordings. But first, there was no sound, nothing unusual. But as Xiaomei listened closely, damn bastards! You sons of bitches! Shut up before I kill you! Be quiet! Be quiet! I said be quiet! The more Xiaomei listened, the creepier it felt. She finally realized her sister wasn't lying. She really could hear strange noises, so it must mean her sister's disappearance was connected to these noises. But where could she go to find her sister? As she pondered, she heard another sound, this time strangely familiar. Looking at the empty room, Xiaomei forced a smile and decided to take a shower to calm down. But as soon as she finished her shower and put on her hearing aid, the knocking started again, louder than before, as if someone was trying to break the door down. Just as she was about to open it, suddenly, Xiaomei didn't rush to open the door. Instead, she cautiously peeked through the peephole to see who was outside. Was it her sister? But the next second, in her panic, Xiaomei suddenly heard a piercing noise, even with her hearing impairment. It made her head feel like it was splitting. She collapsed on the floor, unable to get up. But with a scream, Xiaomei suddenly woke up unharmed. It turned out everything was just a terrible nightmare. Her sister still hadn't returned. The next day, Xiaomei contacted her sister's boyfriend, Away, and together they went to the relevant authorities to inquire about any incidents in the neighborhood. In recent years, the staff confirmed there was indeed something strange, and it happened in apartment room 604. Oh, what a pity. They kept complaining it was noisy here, noisy there, and then they claimed to have seen a ghost in the apartment. They went crazy. But starting today, it's been quiet. And then it started to smell. A rotting stench began to spread. It was so bad it made your head spin. No way. Okay. Don't take me to that creepy place. Xiaomei was stunned. She never imagined the house she spent all her savings on was a haunted apartment. But now, with her sister missing and still not found, how could she just leave? So Xiaomei began posting missing person flyers, hoping to find her sister. But after a busy night, as soon as she got home, she heard the sound of a door opening. Seeing her long-lost sister suddenly appear, Xiaomei was overjoyed. She rushed forward to check on her, but her sister's expression was strangely off. Instead of responding warmly to her sister's concern, she impatiently pushed Xiaomei aside and limped back to her room. Xiaomei thought her sister must have gone through something and followed to ask, only to find the room completely empty. Confused, Xiaomei was certain she saw her sister enter the room. How could she vanish in an instant? While she was puzzled, she saw her sister hanging from the ceiling beam. Terrified, Xiaomei rushed to take her down. But no matter how hard she tried, her sister's neck remained stuck. At this point, Xiaomei was utterly desperate, but in her overwhelming grief. Thankfully, it was another terrifying nightmare. Since her sister's disappearance, Xiaomei had been having strange dreams, and tonight was clearly a sleepless night. After some time, she heard noises again and followed them downstairs, only to see the resident of room 504 had mysteriously fallen to their death from upstairs. And this man was none other than the strange man who came to her door on the first day of her sister's disappearance. That night, when the man returned home and hadn't even entered his apartment, he suddenly heard a piercing noise from upstairs. He had endured it for months, and finally couldn't take it anymore. So, he grabbed a knife and frantically searched upstairs, following the sound, to room 704 on the 7th floor. But as soon as he arrived, the noise mysteriously stopped. This drove him nearly insane with anger. The man returned empty-handed, but as he turned around, a woman in red suddenly appeared nearby. The piercing noise instantly filled his ears, making his head feel like it was exploding. When he came to his senses, the woman had vanished, and the hallway lights strangely turned on. He turned to check behind him, but it was still empty. The two turned to look, but there was still no one there. Gasping. Gasping. The man desperately tried to open the hallway door, but it wouldn't budge. He frantically pressed the elevator button, but it didn't respond. He rushed to another staircase, but in a moment of carelessness, that was the truth of the man's death. But apart from him, no one knew how he died or what he saw that night. It wasn't until Xiaomei visited roommate that she finally learned the truth from the landlord, Sister Song. It turned out everything stemmed from a murder long ago, back when Xiaomei hadn't moved in. A man lived in room 604, and a woman lived in room 704. But later, for some reason, every night, the woman in 704 could hear piercing noises from upstairs, severely disrupting her life. Frustrated, she stopped doing anything productive and spent her days nervously banging on the ceiling with a frying pan while standing on a stool. But the man living below her in 604 wasn't happy either. He was also disturbed by the woman's noise, unable to sleep day or night. Finally, he grabbed a knife, stormed into her apartment, and killed her. He stabbed her repeatedly until she was barely alive. then left. With her last breath, the woman used her remaining strength to bang on the wall, hoping someone would come to save her. But because she had caused so much noise for so long, everyone was fed up and ignored her cries for help. In the end, the woman died full of resentment, her grudge lingering in the building. From then on, room 704 became infamous. The man in 604 also vanished as if he had evaporated. After learning this, Xiaomei talked to Away about the murderer from 604. If he was dead, where was his body hidden? If he was alive, was her sister with him? Perhaps finding him would reveal her sister's whereabouts. After some investigation, they soon targeted the neighborhood S-boiler room. Sure enough, as soon as they arrived, they found signs of someone living there. Away also discovered a skeleton in tattered clothes in a dark corner. He took out his phone to compare and was horrified to realize it was the murderer from 604. The clothes were identical. Away wanted to get closer to take a detailed photo, but the next second, he heard noises in his ears. As the noise grew louder, the skeleton's head suddenly fell off and rolled to Away's feet. In that instant, Away seemed to lose consciousness. Staring blankly at sensing something was wrong, Xiaomei turned on her flashlight to check. That moment, Away, possessed by a ghost, had completely lost his senses and grabbed Xiaomei's neck, trying to strangle her. Luckily, in the critical moment, Xiaomei grabbed a nearby stone and knocked Away down. She then climbed the stairs desperately, opened the basement window, and tried to escape. But Away wouldn't let her go so easily. He grabbed her leg and pulled her back. Xiaomei's fingernails bled from the struggle. Fortunately, at the last moment, the building manager suddenly appeared, saving her life. But thinking of her still missing sister, Xiaomei decided to return to the boiler room. She opened a heavy iron door deep inside and found her sister's beloved camera. In a video, she uncovered the entire truth. The video showed her sister accidentally entering room 804. Shockingly, the room contained nothing but a stereo system, speakers, and amplifiers. Meanwhile, Sister Song, the landlord, was in another room, muttering incoherently, seemingly talking to someone. It sounded like she was speaking to her daughter. Xiaomei had heard from the building manager that Sister Song's daughter died in a car accident long ago. So, what was going on with her words? Looking at Sister Song's chilling gaze, her sister was terrified. She tried to flee in panic, but was knocked out by Sister Song with a single blow and locked in the basement. Seeing this, Xiaomei couldn't believe that Sister Song, who seemed so friendly, was actually so vicious. She kept searching the basement and finally found her sister locked in a corner. But just as she was about to leave with her sister, Sister Song suddenly appeared, holding a baseball bat and smiling. She walked toward them. Xiaomei quickly shut the door and blocked it with a cabinet. While Sister Song was banging on the door, Xiaomei hid her sister in a corner. When Sister Song finally broke through, Xiaomei confronted her, asking why she was doing this. This time, Sister Song didn't hide anything, since the sisters were about to die. She revealed that she once had a lively daughter who loved dancing but couldn't stand staying still. Dancing at home disturbed the neighbors, who complained and suggested she play outside. At first, Sister Song was fine with it, but later, her daughter died in a car accident while playing outside. Her world collapsed. In her grief, she blamed the neighbors, believing their complaints forced her daughter to go outside, leading to the tragedy. So, she killed the woman in 704 and the man in 604, creating noises to stir up conflicts among the residents, making everyone pay a heavy price. Now, if she could eliminate Xiaomei, everything would be covered up and no one would know the truth. But she overlooked one thing: the vengeful spirit of the woman from How would she deal with that? Seeing her chance, Xiaomei broke free and escaped the basement. Just as she closed the door, Sister Song's foot blocked it. She pleaded with Xiaomei to help her, but Xiaomei knew that helping her would cost her life. So, she forcefully shut the door and escaped with her sister, leaving Sister Song trapped in a cycle of karmic retribution. This movie isn't just a thriller. Its true terror lies in reflecting the distortion of human nature under pressure. For Xiaomei, with her hearing impairment, noise wasn't just a disturbance, but an amplifier of isolation and helplessness. After her sister's disappearance, her world became increasingly distorted. It forces us to reflect on real life. When others cry out for help in silence, do we also choose to ignore them? But she overlooked one thing. How would she deal with the vengeful spirit of the woman from 704, allowing nightmares to become reality? The real horror may not come from the noise itself, but from the darkness in human hearts. I'm Xiangju, and that's today's story. See you next time. Seeing her chance, Xiaomei broke free and escaped the basement. But just as she was closing the door, Sister Song suddenly stuck out her foot to stop her, pleading in a low voice for Xiaomei to help her. But Xiaomei knew in her heart that helping her would surely cost her life, so she decisively slammed the door shut and escaped the basement with her sister, leaving Sister Song trapped in a cycle of karmic retribution. This movie isn't just a thriller, it's true. Terror lies in reflecting the distortion of human nature under pressure. For Xiaomei, with her hearing impairment, noise wasn't just a disturbance in life, but an amplifier of isolation and helplessness. After her sister's disappearance, her world became increasingly distorted. It forces us to reflect. In real life, when others cry out for help in silence, do we also choose to ignore them, allowing nightmares to become reality? The real horror may not come from the noise itself, but from the darkness in human hearts. I'm Xiangju, and that's today's story. See you next time!